Hi, today I want to give you a little video about how to join the hexagons together on your Bonbon blanket. I tell people a lot that it is much easier to do than it is to explain on paper, so that's why we're doing a video with this. When you look at the directions on the pattern, it can be like, what is going on? So here I'm going to show you how it is done. So we're going to take the hexagon that we want to be the center of our blanket. I just pulled one from the pile. If you have a special color that you really like, choose that. That's fine. But this one will be your center, at least the way it is written according to the pattern. You could reconfigure it however you want to, but this is how it is done. All right, so the border of the first hexagon doesn't really get attached to anything else as you're joining, just because it is the first one. It forms the center off of which all the others build. And it is essentially the same as doing a round on the hexagon. It's just an extension of that, only with your border color, in which case mine is gray. So what we're going to do is we're going to take any corner, and I kind of prefer for it not to be the corner where I ended the hexagon, but whatever you want to do, it's fine. All the corners are created equal there. And you're going to join up a loop and then chain 5. And then you're going to work around that hexagon just as you would a normal round on the body of the hexagon. The difference of this one is that on the hexagon body, okay, so we have 8 double crochets per side. We're gonna do 10 double crochets per side. So here's the chain 5. So that functions as our first double crochet here, and then a chain 2. And then we're going to put another double crochet into that first space right there, that space that we're already in. And then we're going to do 1 in each of the 8 across. All right, so at this point we have 9 double crochets on this side, because this first one is actually part of the final side. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9. We're going to put one more double crochet into this next space. So that forms our 10th one. And then 2 chains. And then we go back into that same corner space to start the next side. So we're going to get all the way around here, get that first border on, slip stitch to join, and then cut that, and then we're going to build off of this central hexagon. Okay, so here we are. We have the border completed on the central hexagon, and I have not woven in my tails for the sake of expediency here. However, I would recommend that you tuck in your tails after each one that you complete. It is going to save you a lot of time in the long run, and I'm sure you've already discovered that when you're making your hexagons. I have placed a special marker here on this one to indicate that it is going to be my center hexagon. And because as you build on it, it's going to get really large and it's going to get kind of tough to tell. And it's easier to count how many layers you have if you have your center marked. So that's what that's for. So we're going to start another hexagon, and we're going to join it to here. It doesn't really matter which side we join to. I've made sure that every single side here has 10 double crochets, and we have 6 chain 2 spaces separating those sides. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you make sure that you just count everything religiously. Make sure that you have 10 per side for every side. It just makes it so much easier in the long run. That way you don't have to fudge anything, and you don't have to do any guesswork there. So we're gonna take our next hexagon and we're gonna start it exactly the same way. So in the pattern, this is step 1 of the joining round for joining the hexagons to the main body of the blanket. So that would be page 5. All right, so we're gonna start the same way. Join chain 5, 4, 5, and we're gonna do our first side as usual. So back in there for a double crochet, and then 1 in each of the 8 stitches across. Awkward silence ensues. Okay. All right, and then 1 more here in this next space because that's completing that first side. Okay, so then we're going to end this side with 1 chain. Okay, so step 1 ends with chain 1. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to join the other chain is going to be the initial slip stitch that joins to the next hexagon. Okay, so we're going to go into any, right now it doesn't matter where I start because this is just, it's a single hexagon. So I'm going to go into any chain 2 space on that hexagon from the top, and I'm going to slip stitch. And so that stands in for the second chain of the chain 2 that would be that corner, okay? So then I'm going to work across the side, but in between each double crochet that I put on this side to make this side, I'm going to slip stitch to this completed hexagon. So I'm going to put 1 back in this space because that's what we do when we start a side. All right, so I'm in this space right here. I need to, this is my next stitch, okay? It's actually the head of the first double crochet. I'm looking at it upside down, so it's off to the left instead of off to the right. So I'm going to go into there from the top and slip stitch. All right, so my next stitch of the side is actually going to be in the first double crochet there. So I'm going to do that. All right, jumping over here, I'm already in this one. See how it's a little bit stretched out? I'm going to go into this one. All right, so then I'm just going to keep alternating double crochet here, slip stitch here, all the way across that side. All right, we're getting closer here. All right, so I'm gonna do my last double crochet of this side, which is gonna be in here, in that next space, in the next corner. And then here, because there are, there's 1 more slip stitch per side than there are double crochets. So it means I'm going to have to skip this last double crochet here, I'm not going to slip stitch into there. I'm going to go into the space instead. So that is my chain one right there. And then we're going to start a new side here. So this slip stitch here stands in for the first chain one of the corner. So we're going to do another chain one to complete that corner. And then back in here for a double crochet to start the next side. And then we're just going to keep going across, making our sides as we have been doing. It's normal from here on out. So I'm just going to work my sides and my spaces across as usual, and that's going to be step 3. So step 1 is the beginning, step 2 is actually the joining portion, and step 3 is the rest. And then step 4 is going to be your very last side right there. Alright, I'm going to get to the next section and show you how to join when you have two sides to join, 2 or more sides to join. Okay, so now we've learned how to do a basic join with our hexagons. Now we just need to put this all together so that it will make a blanket. So when I did my placement, those observant of you will see that this is actually a different piece that I've started, and this is going to be another blanket. And this was my center right here, and I did placement around in a counterclockwise manner. I found that doing the counterclockwise thing actually helps just based on where the ends are. If I need to pick something back, like I did have a couple when I was doing my first blanket where I didn't have enough, I hadn't done 10. Bad me, I had miscounted. So I was actually able to pick those back. So that's kind of nice. So what I do for these is for each layer, where I start each layer, I put a hexagon, or excuse me, a stitch marker into that hexagon. And so this is where I started this layer right here, and then I worked around like this. So if you consider each layer, so this one was originally just joined to here with this. So then as I worked around, this one wasn't here yet, so this one joined to here and here. And you can kind of see it if you look really closely at that zigzag, at the direction of the zigzag, you can kind of see that. So this one, again, here, here. So all of these ones on the first were just joined here and here. And then when we got to the last one, then all of these were completed, and this one just needed to fit into that slot. So that actually had a 3-sided join. So that was there, there, and there. Now we're going to go back to the piece that we're using to demonstrate. These are the 2 that we've already done, and this is the next one that I'm joining into there. I've already done step 1, where I started the side, and step 2, the join, to join to the central hexagon. And now I'm just going to show you how to continue that join when you need to join to another hexagon, and maybe even a third one. So here we have, I'm right at the point where I haven't done a slip stitch in here yet. So what I am going to do is I am going to put my last double crochet of this side in here into this space. Okay. And again, I'm going to skip that double crochet and I'm going to go into that space. So that functions as the first chain of that corner right here. All right, so, but what about the second chain? Because normally if we were just continuing on, if we didn't have to join to another one, we would just do a chain one. Well, we do another slip stitch because we have another side to which we need to join. So we're going to go from a slip stitch right here to a slip stitch over here. So that is our second chain of the corner. So now to complete that corner area, we're going to go back in here into the space and do a double crochet. And that not only completes the corner, it begins the next side. Whoop, and see, I just want to continue on crocheting. Nope, we have to go over here and we have to slip stitch right here. And then we're going to repeat step 2 essentially. So this side is going to be done the same way as this side was done. So just cross. Whoa. Not good. Alright, so you probably guessed what comes next. We have no more sides to join here. So I'm just going to complete this side / begin corner by putting a double crochet in there, skip that double crochet, slip stitch into the space, chain 1, double crochet back into the space to complete the corner / begin next side, and then continue on around. Alright, that's about all there is to it. Yeah, you're just going to continue on in your concentric layers there, and there's a great diagram in the pattern that kind of gives you a guideline for how to join them in. And yeah, happy crocheting, guys!